We're here in Rio de Janeiro, and I guarantee you this will be an unforgettable experience as you get to taste the food, the culture, have experiences with the historical aspect of Brazil. That's right, one of the major parts of the African diaspora. And guess what? We want you to join us here in Brazil. The views are amazing, the food is spectacular, and the experience is unforgettable. And the only thing that's missing is you. Join us.
What's good, my beautiful African family? It's your man Theo E.J. Wilson, a.k.a. Brother Tez, with the African Diaspora News Channel. And as you know, Jesse Jackson, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, went on to glory a couple of weeks ago. And in his passing, the political class gathered around him at his funeral, and they espoused how they thought that Jesse Jackson not only impacted their lives, their personal paths, the country, the trajectory of black folks, but what his life means in reference to the events of today. And of all the political class, the heavyweight, especially when it comes to the Democrats, is former President Barack Hussein Obama. And here's what he had to say at Jesse Jackson's funeral.
Each day we wake up to some new assault on our democratic institutions. Another setback to the idea of the rule of law. Each day we're told by those in high office to fear each other and to turn on each other, and that some Americans count more than others, and that some don't even count at all.
Now, powerful words. You may or may not agree with Barack Obama. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about how Jesse Jackson Jr. responded to what all of this political class had to say, because you may not know this, but Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were also there. Jesse Jackson Jr., before it started, issued kind of an admonition and a warning to everybody who was going to talk, because he knew folks were going to talk, and he ain't got the clout to measure and check everybody's speech. But he said, don't come here with the politics. Just talk about the life of the great departed Reverend Jesse Jackson. Well, they didn't do that. And afterwards, Jesse Jackson has some words about it.
I listened for several hours of 3 United States presidents who do not know Jesse Jackson. He maintained a tense relationship with the political order, not because the presidents were white or black, but the demands of our message demanded not Democratic or Republican solutions, but demanded a consistent, prophetic voice that at no point in time ever sold us out as a people.
He said Jesse never sold us out. Who was he implying may have done so? Did somebody on that stage sell us out? Well, I can say this. There are grounded critiques of the Democratic leadership, especially those who come dressed in black skin or passably black enough to get the black vote as kinfolk. And what I can tell you is that the critiques of the Democratic Party are well-founded in the fact that there is a pattern of betrayal. And there is an implicit understanding that if you are somebody who writes black on the census, I know the delineation movement is trying to be more specific about who qualifies as black, but to this time, if you check the black box on the census, you are held to a moral account that was set forth at least by the moral high ground won by those in the civil rights movement, Jesse Jackson included in that. I don't know what conversations were had between Jesse Jackson and his sons behind closed doors, his children behind closed doors. But I do know that based on what Jesse Jackson Jr. has said, they may not have been in lockstep with how the Democratic Party has gone. I know one thing for sure. when Obama was at least rising, Jesse Jackson was not in favor of Barack Obama. I know a lot of y'all remember the hot mic moment that happened. I would play the clip here, but I think that we might have that video pulled down, so I ain't gonna do that. But I know that Barack Obama had the decency to pay respects to the things that Jesse Jackson did sacrifice for him to be where he was. Because as we know, before Barack Obama, Jesse Jackson was the largest heavyweight contender who was black that we thought might actually have a chance to win the presidency when he ran in 84 and 1988. I actually met Jesse Jackson when I was just a little boy. He came to my church. I was real little back in them days. But the facts are, there's been a rift between the civil rights class who are authentic to the mission and the service in the Democratic Party for those who have inherited that mantle but not always delivered on the promise. I don't think that this is the last that we will hear about this. I think that there's more to come in the future. And the rift between those who are in the activist class and those who are in the political class actually deserves to be examined. But I thought that that was very, very interesting. Now, as Jesse Jackson had passed away, I began to reflect on my mixed feelings about the brother. You know, I met Jesse Jackson again when I was at Florida A&M University. When I was a fan, he came down there, and I heckled Jesse Jackson. I had found out that, you know, there were some things that was not necessarily right with him and how he had done Dr. King in the final moments of Dr. King's life. Y'all can look that up. I'm not going to expound upon that here. And I was like, nuh-uh, bro. On balance, however, in a review of the things that Jesse Jackson was able to accomplish in the post-civil rights era, the things that Jesse Jackson wanted for us in his deepest heart of hearts, and how he was thwarted from that, and how a great deal of his message has been skewed, it serves to ration that a possibly highly effective black leader could be thwarted from certain outcomes for black people. Now, as we know, there's a Rainbow Push Coalition, and a lot of us now are done with that epoch when it comes to like us being we for everybody. The things that was meant for black folks got diluted down and given to everybody else. That is a rightful critique of Jesse Jackson, in my opinion, and that Rainbow Push kind of, colorblind era. But what has to be said is that the man was effective at what he aimed to do most of the time, and you got to at least put some respect on his name. Put some respect on the Reverend's name. I know a lot of people have fallen for the idea that it was Jesse Jackson, for example, that wanted us to be identified as African Americans. That's not true. He got that idea from Malcolm X. And I know this because Malcolm X's organization, when he left the Nation of Islam, it's right there, was the Organization for Afro-American Unity. The first meeting was attended by my father. So I know that it wasn't Jesse Jackson who pushed for our African identity as Black Americans. That definitely came from Malcolm X, and when he returned from overseas with his tour of the African continent. So Jesse Jackson's legacy has been skewed. I advise reading about him in that big old biography that they have in his name. Because Jesse Jackson, I'm telling you, he was more of a heavyweight than we have been led to believe. But with that being said, our critiques of the black political class need to be examined, not in the sense that we intend to sow disunity between us and that political class, but to actually bring us together in the spirit of accountability, love, and correction. They got to be corrected, right? They have to be understood. They have to be made to understand that we ain't going to accept just any old thing because you black or appear to be. We're not going to accept the idea that you get carte blanche to make promises that you don't fulfill, and that our need for a unified front in unity with, all of these folks watching us is going to make you skirt accountability. The black political class needs to be called into question and needs to be brought into correction. And that is the spirit that I believe that our dear brother, Jesse Jackson Jr., was operating out of. Because Lord knows, the shadow of Democratic politics, the failings of Barack Obama, when it came to addressing the fallout from, let's say, the crash of 2008, to our expansion of our drone wars, to not standing on business about reparations, but admitting in a podcast with Bruce Springsteen that he believed in it for us, has everything to do with the hole that MAGA drove through to power, right? He left that opening. And if we're not going to be honest about that, then we actually can't have unity, because anything unity that we would have would be based on falsehood and lacking integrity. Jesse Jackson Jr. seems to be calling for integrity from our black political class specifically, and the legacy of the civil rights movement, which, by the way, near its end was turning towards economic justice for black Americans who have been violently dispossessed of our inheritance. So that's just my thoughts on it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it in the comment section. I do read them, though I don't always comment. At any rate, this is the African Diaspora News Channel. We bring you the news in regards to the black family worldwide. And so we appreciate your support. Go ahead and download the app, y'all. Just download the app. Like, follow, and share, by the way. Like this video. Don't cost you nothing. Go ahead and boost us in the algorithm. And if you download the app, it ain't nothing but $9.99 a month. That ain't nothing. That's 13 cents a day, right? And of course, if you like your boy right here and you like what I say and how I say it, go ahead and follow my personal channel right here on YouTube at Theo Cyrus Rising. My name is Theo E.J. Wilson, a.k.a. Brother Tej. I'll see you next time. Well, I saw you this time. Peace.